to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys.
I don't know what happened, guys. That was weird. How are you doing today? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good health. Hi, Angela. How are you today? Welcome. There's so much to talk about today. If anybody wants a reading with me, it's on the screen 213-458-7408. It's Sunday, but I am open today. And also subscribe to my channel. Let me see. Let me see something. A little hot right now. I am at 40,100. Oops. Let's just, there you go. How about that? Oh, look at that. People are saying for Cardi B, somebody said, yes, you definitely did say she would have a third baby by him. And after the third baby, she will be divorcing him. Oh, what? That's about Cardi B. What? All right. Sometimes it's hard for me to go back and find these videos. Thank you. Sorry. However, get to the comments. Oh. What? Somebody says there's a 8th, 9th, 6th, and 7th book. There's an 8th, 9th, and 10th book of Moses now. Thanks, Capricorn. Thanks so much. I don't have, I'll find those books later and I'll order it on Amazon. All right. I'm reading the comments. I don't know why I'm choosing to read the comments right now, but I'm reading the comments on some of my videos. Who is Mark? Nobody says Mark is sexy. Oh, yeah, Mark Kelly. Yes. All right. Woo, child. So I didn't get milk. Not that I drink milk. Something for my coffee. So I decided to put in yogurt. So this didn't turn out so well, but I can tolerate it. I just need a little coffee in my system. I'm not a coffee drinker. Let me see who else is on. Hi, Angela. Oh, thank you, Angela. Um, Please like and subscribe to my channel. And remember, guys, we are on Political Watch. So we got to stay focused on the Political Watch. Hi, Kelsey. Hi, Claudine. How you doing? How's the girls getting all big? I know they're getting big. Lord have mercy. Let me see something. All right. My eyes feel a little yucky today. All right, let's get started in the book. I'm going to go to where I left off, which is page 156. And we were talking about, oh, I meant to take a picture of the book. We were talking about the book Jambalaya, right? Because it's in this book. It's page 156, and it starts with this excerpt. This excerpt, Needy Winter, a story from her book Jambalaya, Louise Teach explains, is based on actual occurrences she experienced herself. Now, let me go back a little because this subject is astral projection. Okay. Astral projection. And that's basically out of body experiences. It happened a lot when I was a child, the author confined. I used to think I was spacing out, daydreaming. As a youngster, I had to be well grounded because I was in a large family. I had a lot of responsibility. When my quiet time came, I would go sit in a closet or lay up on the roof. I now know that I did a lot of out of body traveling, but I didn't know what it was called. My parents, just saw it as, well, she's seeing some spirits. I have a friendlier relationship with it now, says Louisa. Traveling out and meeting other energies on other levels. I have better control of it. Things don't have to get dire before I can do it. I can do it on decision, but that decision is not just left brain. The urge to do it comes on. The urge is based on the need to do it. I recognize that the urge is there and I surrender to the urge, cooperate with the urge, and then I can do it. You lay down on your bed, you tense and relax your muscles, Louisa goes on. You give up fear of what you're going to meet out there. You make an attempt to direct where you are going to go. You make sure you stay cored to the earth so you don't get out there and get too comfortable. You can deliberately go. There are other times, however, when I don't have all that forethought and I lay down to go to sleep and I feel myself flying or riding my magical bicycle or being on a roller coaster and I go somewhere. Louisa speaks of astral visits made to a gathering at her childhood home. A couple of years ago, I had this dream of myself riding this magical bicycle, and I went home to my mother's house. When I went there, some kind of reunion was going on. I could walk around and see people. In my dream, I came back here, and I didn't think anything of it except, well, I went in spirit to my mama's house. The next day or so, my mother called me and said that my aunt of mine, who I hadn't seen in 20 years, had been there visiting, and she kept asking about me. Without knowing it, I was trying to answer her call. Looking back at what she calls her regenerating out of body experiences, Louise attributes it to a ceremony in which she participated. There was the giving away of my possessions. There was the releasing of all my relationships, the abandoning of all my hopes and expectations. And I truly believe that it is that ceremony which caused me to have the out of body experience rather than dying, rather than just getting violently ill. Hmm. I'm interested in people recognizing that the spirit is layered and that when it's time for an old layer to come off, when it's time for the snake to shed its skin, we feel death coming on. But it's not necessary a physical death. We feel the blindness of materiality made me think that I was supposed to take myself out physically, she explains. In another culture and another time, I would have had an elder that I could go to and say, life is perfectly rotten. I don't fit in. I can't handle it. They would have rituals to symbolically take me through that death and let me feel and experience it. And then they would have been present for the rebirthing. Well, that's new to me. Um, hmm, interesting. You know, when I worked at the Green Man store, we used to have, I guess they were called meditations, but I'm not really sure anymore. They called them something else. Pretty sure they called them something else. And they were really deep and intense progression to the other world. They were really deep. And I was used to it because I, you know, took the Green Man classes for like 2 years in a row, all of their meditation. So I was used to it. For some crazy reason, I invited a friend. And we couldn't wake her. We could not wake her. Everybody else had come out of the meditation but her. So we shook her and we said, it's okay to come back. Don't stay there. It's really weird. And then when she did come back, um, she was groggy. And she was my ride. And I was like, oh my God. It was like she almost came back to her body as if she was drunk, as if her body didn't fit anymore when she got back. So she was like limber and, you know, couldn't keep her head up. And I was like, oh my God. So we really tried. This is the Green Man story. We really tried to figure out what to do with her. But the one thing about the Green Man store, they did not leave her. They stayed with her. There were certain foods that you can eat, and potato chips is one of the foods that you can eat. It's very grounding. You can hold a potato. We've talked about this before. And ultimately, she came back to herself. And then once you talk about your experiences, then you could see her gardening strength. Yeah, I remember that. Kind of reminds me of what's going on here. But I didn't. This is new to me in terms of like, in order to change, to have a physical death spiritually. Oh, but it would be nice. I'm bringing a story up about the Green Man store because she said it's better to have an elder there who is ready to receive you when you have a rebirth. And yeah, yeah, interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. I wouldn't have called it death, but I guess I could see it her way. They would have rituals to symbolically take me through that death and let me feel and experience it. Then they would have been present for the rebirthday. Hmm. This is Louise Tish, and she wrote the book Jambalaya. So if anybody wants to get the book Jambalaya, please do. I've had the book for years. Hold on. Oh, sorry. And she tells stories in these books, also very similar to here, you know, astral journey. Let me see something else. She talks about deities, Haitian and otherwise. Um, let's see something else. She got some art in here too. So if you want to try a book outside of this one right here that I'm reading, The Company of Prophets, go ahead and invest in Jambalaya. All right. All right. Oh, where's my bell? Oh, I know where my bell is. How you all doing? Let me check to see what everybody is saying. Oh, you're doing great. 11th grade. Oh, Lord. School started Thursday. Yeah, I'm fine. Like, I don't have a school started Thursday. You're in the South. Ciao. Are you in the South? Um, yeah, it's crazy. Hi, Bree. How are you? Glorious Sunday morning. Yes, it is. All right. Let me, oh, I could just use this. I don't have my bell. I don't feel like getting up. Ding, 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 ding. I don't feel like getting up. All right. Take a sip of this yogurt coffee here. This is actually going to make me force me to get another cup of coffee later. Mm, mm, mm. All right. Oh, yeah, Jambalaya. There you go. Jambalaya, the Natural Woman's Book of Personal Charms and Practical Rituals. It's on Amazon. I think you guys, in your private time, would actually love this book. So go ahead and invest in it. Go get some insights from this book. Very similar, by the way, to the company of prophets. Hmm. Like, I'll tell you, one of the things that she says here. Um, this is the jambalaya, right? And don't be afraid of magical tips. But I do want to add that some of these books were written before we had carpet. Remember that. People used to have floors, not carpet. So I would say if you wanted to do something like this, then do it in your kitchen if you have carpet. Do it in your kitchen. So, one of the things she says here is spiritually clean a house, moving clockwise. Clockwise. Place a teaspoon of salt in all corners of the house, beginning at the front door and ending at the back door. Remember, back in the day, we had front doors, we had back doors. So some things can't apply anymore. Sprinkle bay rum on the tip of a new broom and beat the walls from top to bottom at the corners. Now, some of us have nooks and crannies. And remember, she said a new broom. So you would have to go out and buy a new broom for this purpose. Me personally, I would get it from the dollar store. I would not drive myself crazy. Um, and you can beat the corners of every place. That's not such a bad idea. Beat the corners of every place on the broom, right? But sprinkle bay rum. If you don't know what bay rum is, oh Lord, look it up on Amazon. It's there. Um, and if you can't do it from top to bottom, which is a lot, you can just hit the broom on the walls. And this is a common practice, by the way. Hitting the broom on the wall shakes up energy. It shakes up all energy. And you just get the energy out. And sometimes, good or bad, just shake it up, get it out, right? And then you can invite the new back in. That's how I feel. Moving counterclockwise now, pick up all the salt from the corners and flush it down the toilet, right? Now, mop the floors in a solution. Again, this is hoodoo, so don't get mad at me. Mop the floors in a solution of your first morning's urine. 2 tablespoons of brown sugar and perfume. Perfume could be any oil. Now, me personally, I'm not putting brown sugar in my floor wash. It's not happening. I don't want bugs. I don't want no attraction. Maybe I could sprinkle some flakes of sugar, but I probably would leave the sugar out, but I don't have time. If your home is also your place of business, add 3 pennies. And I don't know if you guys know what this is, but it's Van oil to your floor wash. As you are mopping the floor, speak out loud the kind of life you want to live. I would tell you, no matter what you want, always ask for good health first. Try to remember that. I don't care if you do a candle magic. I don't care if you're wishing upon a star. I don't care if you've got one wish. If some genie shows up to you and says, you got one wish for good health. Okay? Remember that. No one can take your good health from you if that's your wish, if that's your desire. But you can ask for money and then get robbed the next day and all of it be gone, right? But your health is life. And as long as you have life, you can figure out how to work, how to bring money in, create a business, create your own happiness. You got health, you got the world. So, it says here, as you're mopping, speak out loud the kind of life you want to live. Do this in each room. Throw the water out the back door. Throw it down the drain. And if you have carpets, it can't be done. Let's not be crazy. But you could do it in your kitchen, right? What is the kitchen but a place of abundance, right? Many times the kitchen is a place of happiness. It's where we go to, you know, create, right? The kitchen is where we go to create, right? And we take other things and put it together and then we create a whole different thing, right? So you could look at it that way. Don't worry about doing the whole house because this is outdated in terms of modern times. Throw it down the toilet in your kitchen. Light a blue candle behind the front door with an image of Saint Michael over the door. Put fresh cut flowers in each room. Again, not everything's necessary. If you're not Catholic, why would you put? No, I don't think you have to be Catholic to believe in St. Michael's. I apologize. But if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. All right. But I do have a really good St. Michael prayer that you can always like keep in your phone for your privacy, right? If you want, take this down. Take this down. Saint Michael, the archangel, defend me in battle. Be our protection against the wicked and the snares of the devil. May God rebuke him. We humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly hosts, by the power of God, cast into hell the devil and all the evil spirits who prowl about the world seeking the ruins of souls. Amen, amen, ashe. All right. And then it says, and that's it. In any case, I'm looking from Jambalaya. I won't be reading this book, but it's very, very similar to Company of Prophet. But if you want to get the book for yourself, go ahead and get the book. You will absolutely find yourself enjoying it. And if you have questions, email me. Those that have my private text number, text me and give yourself permission to not do everything the way it's done in this book, right? Give yourself permission that it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay? Just learn to have fun with the spiritual world. That's what's most important. Having fun. All right. On to the next story. Any questions, guys? Oh, let me see. Um, ain't nothing like walking into person's house here in the South and they have a wooden floor trying to get me to go home. Oh, okay. I I will want to stay forever. Oh, you guys. Yes, indeed, it does. Okay. When you hit that broom, which Bree knows about the broom, honey, my nanny calls it shaking the ground. Yes. Yes. Get that brand new broom, get some bay rum. Um, Bay rum's an old fashioned thing, and spray that broom with some bay rum, hit them walls, clear that energy. Yeah. And you feel better afterwards. That's the most amazing part. When you do some spiritual cleansings, oh, it feels so good. All right. And remember, just being ethnic people, right? We have to do it. Um, and don't be ashamed. I can't be bothered with being ashamed. You know what I want? I want peace. I want peace. I want happiness. I want I want peace. I want peace so bad. And so just remind yourself that you're giving yourself good health, giving yourself peace, right? In any case. Moving on. Let me just go get my thingamajiggy. Hold on. And just so you know, guys, Sylvester Tarot, Fashion and Tarot, is creating visors, and he's creating visors that say psychic on it. So damn cool. I can't wait to get one and proudly display on my head I am a psychic. Okay, next chapter. My spirit is leaving. Clarence's mother used to announce to her children she would retire to bed for as long as a week, on occasion in out of body states after such treatments. Clarence Ellaby remembers friends and neighbors saying they saw and talked with her on the streets. But at the time of those sightings, Clarence knew his mother's physical body was home in bed in a trance. Hold on, guys. Get comfortable here. When the spirit is with her, Mother Estelle Ellaby moves outside of the body. A speaker in tongues, evangelist, and healer, she is often enveloped in rapture consciousness. She leaves to Clarence, her son, companion, and co pastor, the management of most of her temporal affairs. He has been her assistant and her communicator since he was 17 years old. He knew even as a small child that his life work was in spiritual work with his mother. Clarence observes that his mother's body becomes set and cold after she leaves it. Sometimes he fears she might not return to it, but hesitates to call her back, not wanting to disturb her work. In an effort to quell his fears, Mother Ellaby told him to use his intuition to get the help of another psychic, but never call the paramedics. My mother told me when she and my father first married, he didn't know she was a psychic. Narrates Clarence. He was a little devilish and kept seeing other women. Once his mother unembodied, went where his father was with another woman. She saw the street location, the house number, the details of the resident, and her husband with this friend. She astounded her husband by giving him a complete description of his Calliston outing when he returned. 25 years ago, our family had just moved to Brooklyn. We didn't know anyone in the apartment complex, and no one knew my mother was a psychic. The cries of the woman in the apartment next door could be heard. She was being beaten. As this occurred, Mother Ellaby went into a trance state. The cries abruptly ended and silence followed. The day after, this neighbor came to our door, Clarence recalls. The awe-stricken woman told Mother Ellaby that she saw her appear all of a sudden in the turmoil of the beating. Mother Ellaby then stood behind the woman's husband and prevented a further blow. She went on to say she felt waves of warmth from Mother Ellaby's presence during the visit. In later years, the woman took up missionary work. A particular night in the 1960s, Mother Ellaby was in the South with her son during revivals, preaching from the pulpit. While she was preaching and healing, a friend, Reverend Morris at Mount Kisco, New York, felt a presence in the room. Opening his eyes, he saw Mother Ellaby. Later, he told the Ellaby family that a calming energy of warmth emanated her etheric body. Up to that time, Reverend Morris had been frustrated in writing a book, finally having to stop production on it. He claims that from her astral visit, Mother Ellaby inspired him to resume his writing and complete his work. Uh, is anybody feeling this section? I'm not feeling the astral projection section. All right. It's only a few of these, but I'm not feeling it. Is anybody else feeling it? It's okay not to like something, by the way. I'm just not feeling the astral projection of it all. Maybe I'll get a story that is going to resonate, but nothing's resonating to me right now. Ding, 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 ding. Let me see something. Ah, I am not feeling. I am not feeling this. All right. All right. Let's oh, I know what I was doing. Perfect. Next story. I've always, as a child, dreamt I had an out of body experience all along. I knew I wasn't in my body when I was little, that I was out. Carolyn Marcus, an astrologer, social worker, and college instructor, teaches at Morgan State College in Baltimore. I could see all the things happening and being so real for no reason, the feeling, the color, the sound, more intense than in real life. So I started writing down all my dreams. Some I think have been visions because I am right there. I go into a sweat and my eyes are open. It's just an intuitive kind of feeling that I know this is not just another dream. Something tells me that. It's kind of indescribable because it's a feeling. It's hard to talk about. I've tried to write some down, just describing my feelings and the impact of those experiences have had on me. I cannot come up with the words. When I have a dream that is very powerful to me, I write it down. I reflect on it. I ask myself, what am I supposed to do with this? I might not know the meaning for a week or two, maybe a month, maybe a year, but I never forget. And then things start happening, and then I can piece things together. Sometimes the dreams is in symbols, and I say, "Oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what that meant." Carolyn comments she tends to choose companions and activities that are spiritually oriented. She seldom attends a professional conference unless they are about non traditional ways to work with people. I would rather be around people who can teach me more, who are up. In 1981, I began to take a serious look at Christianity. I decided to read the Bible from page one. While I was doing that, I was having heavy dreams and visions. They really made an impact on me. I can relate to the Bible, the teachings, the principles involved. They can be used. I have respect for it. I don't have much respect for organized religion. A lot of churches that I have come in contact with, I would call Christian country clubs. I know now I do not need a church to go where I'm going to end up anyway. Through a metaphysical organization, Carolyn undertook studies on astral travel, finding they taught what she was naturally doing. I've been interacting and learning some things that I cannot ignore. I know that I have to share all this information that is coming to me. If I hold it in, I know I will suffer, my health, or whatever. This kind of information was not meant to be kept to oneself. It was meant to be shared with people for a universal kind of cause. I felt myself become more universal. And to me, that's very significant because it was like I was a different person. When asked how astrology and metaphysics have affected her relationship with people, Carolyn responds, it has enhanced in some cases. In other cases, it has been, how could she be serious about that? They would put it on my personality. They would say, you know, Carolyn has always been way out. They knew I was willing to try the other things others wouldn't be willing to try. Hold on, guys. My eyes are watery today. Uh, They would say, okay, the older I get, the more spiritual I become, the less need I have for those kind of roots. I can look back and I don't say it's a waste of time. I learned a lot of things. And apparently, I had to go through all that I did go through to get where I am now. When I was young, I did astral travel naturally in a dream state. But then I was afraid I was going to die or be unable to get back into my body. As a child, I knew I couldn't get back into. I As a child, I knew if I couldn't get back into my body, I would be dead. I've learned since that has happened. I know I'm not alone. I know that God is always there and will protect me. I know that all I have to do is call on the Lord and I'm delivered from whatever danger there is. This has happened to me thousands of times in dreams. All I would say is, Jesus, Lord, and I am delivered. I don't care what is coming to me, to do whatever. I always remember to think on the Lord. I know from experience, all you have to do is call. That's all you have to do. Now, we've talked about this, right? You know, if you are not of God, get out. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. You break all that negative energy. Even, you know what? Even when you're emotionally upset. So let's say, and you've seen elders do this a lot, right? Sometimes we got to remember what our elders used to do. And if you're at work and you're upset, just call out Jesus' name 3 times. Whatever that is that's coming for you, the spell gets broken, right? It shatters in between you and that energy, especially if you're at work, child. It really works there. All right. Um, One thing I've always done if I have to do something very, very important, I always say, Jesus, go before me and be my mouthpiece. That way, you are giving Jesus permission to take over so that anything you say later on, you're going to be amazed. You're going to be like, and then I said this. And I was like, where the hell did that come from? Because you called on powers bigger than you. I, I know, Brave Christian Country Club. I love that too. I'm going to start using it. Oh, did I skip a whole section? Lord have mercy. 50. Oh, let's read it. I became interested in the import business when I couldn't find an African dress. Eventually, I owned 3 African import stores in San Francisco, Berkeley, and Vallejo. Catherine Wilson, an herbalist and a healer, works out of the San Francisco Bay Area. I find myself astral traveling when I was in the store. I would visit places in Africa. I knew the languages and the land. Africans who visited the store were surprised that I knew their language and their customs. The places where she traveled were familiar, though she had never visited them in her life. She felt a deep affinity for the continent. At her store, amongst the goods and the artifacts of African nations, she seemed to be drawn out of her body. But the outer body travels to Africa ceased once she left her import business. An astral traveler from her 20s, those projections into remote physical places were not new to her. I have been told by any number of mediums that I didn't come into my body until I was around the age of 12. That is why I don't recall much of my childhood, she confirms. All right. Well, if you have trauma, you also don't recall much of your childhood. Okay. So I have had out of body experiences, not because I was educated in it. When you're spiritual, you accidentally do things. When I was a kid, I used to have it a lot. And then one day, I used to have my bed by my window. And I have since not put my bed by the window. So I was in my 50s. I had my bed by my window. And I astral traveled. And I couldn't get back in my body. And I panicked. And I remember thinking, I'm going to die. and nobody will know for days, right? I potentially could always be that person where it's like, and she was dead for 3 days, right? Not here though. I notice being here, that's not going to happen. In any case, um, I remember it specifically, and I remember panicking and thinking, how do I get back in? I don't remember what I did in terms of astral traveling and visiting because the panic of trying to get back in superseded the experience. Eventually, I did get back in. I remember forcing myself back in because you have the control, even though you don't know it, but you do, even though I didn't know it. But I remember thinking, just force your spirit back in your body. And I did. And that's the only thing I remember. I used to have this experience as a kid, but as an adult, uh, to get it at such a late stage in 55, it was at that point that I realized the window was the problem. Do not sleep by a window. Um, and then I decided that I would never astral travel ever again. And I think that's why I'm kind of annoyed with this section because I just feel like not what the purpose is, but I don't know. If you watch Lovecraft, right? It wasn't until I saw Lovecraft that I then appreciated astral traveling. Um, but all right, that I'm just uncomfortable with this section. Are you guys okay, by the way? Because I'm uncomfortable with this section. Like I want to move on to the next section, but I can't, right? I can't. I gotta do God's will and finish this section. And I'm trying to finish it. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I am back, and let's take a look. I need a cup of coffee. Oh my God, this is disgusting. I tried with yogurt and coffee. Hi, Incognito. All right, let's get back. St. Michael, I think I left that up enough. I was leaving it up for somebody that needed it. All right, let's go back here. Thank you, Angela. Thank you so much for letting me know I had missed something. Thank you. All right, moving on. More astral traveling stories. Let me see. More astral travel, astral projections. A lot going on here. I'm not going to finish this today. I mean, I could. What time is it? 10 o'clock. In 1831, Rebecca Cox Jackson thought she was dying. Why is dying in reference to astral traveling? The following observations of the experience she later recorded in her journey. Now, when my spirit left my body, I was as sensible of it as I would be now to go out of this house and come in it again. All my senses and feelings and understanding was in my spirit. I found my body was no more than a chair to me or any other piece of thing. Jackson, a preacher, a Shaker eldris, and founder of an African American Shaker community in Philadelphia, further noted. After encouraging Samuel to be faithful, then taking leave of him in prayer, I left, passing out at my feet. I went directly west. I turned neither to the right nor the left. I passed through all substance, nothing impeded my way. I went A straight course came down to a river. It ran north and south. I stood on the bank. I then thought, here is Jordan. Here I have got to suffer. I found when I came out of the body, it was with all ease and without any suffering. So I now found I had this suffering to go through. As I stood on the bank looking across, I saw a large mountain, a path which went up from this river. On the top of this mountain is very narrow. I saw travelers going up this path. Some was further up the path than others, for two could not walk in it abreast. They all walked as if they were tired. On the south side of the mountain was a great deal of ice and great flakes. In the midst of it was a man with a boat, trying to get it out. I thought he was the one that had taken them over, and he was a coming for me. I seen his eyes were fascinated upon me, and while I thus thought, I heard a voice from above say, you must go around the Mediterranean first. This voice sounded over my right shoulder. It was a man's voice. It turned out I turned to go down this Jordan, which is she in Israel, which was south. I thought that the way to the Mediterranean, but I was turned around the way from whence I came and returned home. I re-entered my body. Samuel was weeping over me and said, you've been dead some time. I spoke to him and then left as before. This I did 3 times, saw all, heard all, and at the first spoke each time. Then I passed out at my chest, going through the ceiling and the roof. Above 12 feet above the roof, there was a cluster of angels on a cloud. They took me up a great height in the air, gave me much instructions, brought me back at the same place. Then I returned to the house, re-entered my body, spoke to Samuel, and he to me. This I done 3 times. The last time when I returned, I found Samuel in prayer, crying to God in the bitterness of his spirit to only spare me a little longer. I went 3 times to this Jordan, 3 times in the air with these angels. This made 6 times I left the body. These were all new scenes to me. Does it please God to show me the difference between the man and the mold? These are excerpts from journals Rebecca Jackson kept throughout her life. The autobiography materials have been compiled and edited by Jean Humez into the book Gifts of Power, the writings of Rebecca Jackson, Black visionary, Shaker Eldris. Has anybody ever had a out-of-body experience? Let me see. Okay. So sorry, Miss Tracy, but I'm loving this section. Oh, that's why I have to do my job. Thank you, Bree. Does having your bed by your window the same as having your bed on the wall, like pushed against the wall? No, no. I had a day bed, and I literally had window, my bed against the window, which when you do, I don't know how everyone has their bed. All right, let me explain it. I literally was parallel the window. So you can have your bed by the window, but if it's like opposite the window, where you are not facing the window, it's a long story. I don't know how to explain it. I was literally, oh, oh, I think I forgot somebody's candle here. Oh, oh, let me see something. Somebody paid for a candle? Um, damn it. Yep. There you go. Damn it. Um, 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 all right. Hey guys, when is the retrograde over? Let me see something. Mercury retrograde 2024. Let me just do August. August. Mm-mm-mm. Date. August 24th through August 27th. So, when is the next full moon? Full moon in August 2024. Damn it. All right, so it has to be in September. See? Did y'all hear that? That crazy ass woman telling her child to shut up that way. See? All right. So Bree says, "Oh, look at this." Bree, Angela says, "Oh, look at you guys." Okay, thank you, Tracy, for that clarification. Yeah. So my bed was parallel the window. So that means when I lay down and I turned on my left, I literally could see outside, see the stars, blah, 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 blah. When you do something like that, my experience, Bree, is that you are half in your house, and when you're sleeping, you're half outside. And it's very easy for spiritual energy to get to you, is what I'm trying to say. Because to have an out of body experience at 55 was crazy, but I realized it's because it was literally parallel the whole length of the window. So you can have your bed near the window, but it can't be the length of the window. So you can have your headboard and your window, right? Does that make sense what I'm trying to say? And it could be like, I'm not making sense. Just don't have it the length of the window, because you that where's the energy? The energy is outside, right? There are things running around constantly just because we can't see it, right? And I was too close to the window and the energies. Now, I never had a bad experience except for the latent astral projection. And what I had to do, because I had a studio at the time, and what I had to do was switch my bed to the other side of the wall. And then I was safe. And it was so much better when I did that. I was so safe there. So that's it. That's all I have to say. It was dangerous for me to. And then I actually also got pneumonia that way. So now that I'm thinking about it, I probably did have a bad experience, because when bad energies see you through the window, right? And they know that you have a purpose, they'll want to take you, like, oh, she's doing God's work. Let's get her sick. And I did wind up, never had pneumonia in my life. Now that I'm thinking about it. Now that we're talking about it. No, I had pneumonia as a 2-year old. I'm sorry, Mom, but it was from neglect. Nobody was watching me. And so I had pneumonia, almost died, and wound up with pneumonia at 55 again. But it had something to do, all of it had something to do with the way I placed my bed. So I never placed my bed by the window ever again. But literally, it's parallel the window where you could see outside. Does that make sense? And, you know, I believe, I can't prove this, but I believe that curtains keep out negative energy at night. But that's just me. So, all right. Just don't put the bed by the window. The window could be across from you. You can have a nightstand, beautiful window. It could be across from you, but you put your bed near the window. And when you're sleeping at night, the elements, I feel like the elements could get you. So, yeah. I'm making perfectly good sense. Okay. Mercury goes direct. Thank you, Angela, on August 28th. Yes, you are making sense. Okay. Bree says, oh, wait, Angela says, yes, I had an out of body experience because I didn't know what was happening. I thought I was dying. Oh, and immediately woke up. Yeah, there seems to be some association with dying here with astral travel. I'm not the educator on astral travel, guys. So if I find someone that can speak on it, I will definitely invite someone that has better knowledge, but I don't have the knowledge of astral travel. And Bree says, yes, I have had out of body experience twice. Interesting. Once at age 3 and then at age 35. Wow. All right. And so the way I described the bed, I'm making good sense. When I'm live on Monday, I'll give you an example of on paper of how I had my bed literally pressed against a window. I'd never done that before. And it was just aesthetically pleasing because I was in a studio. So when you walked in, it was beautiful. But, oh, this is the other thing I learned, guys. The other thing I learned years later is that when you pass your bedroom, your this is feng shui. Your bed should not look like the way a funeral casket would be when you enter a room. Does that make sense? So when you enter your room, your bed should not look like a funeral casket. And when you entered my studio, the first thing you would notice, because I designed it that way, was my bed. But it was placed against the wall like a funeral casket is placed at a funeral. So, those of you that need some feng shui fixing in your house, right? Tapping the walls with a broom is kind of feng shui, clearing that energy, right? But the placement of where you put things, oh, it's okay to study some feng shui because it will make sense later on in terms of clearing energy. And I had, when you walked in my studio, it was beautiful the way I set the bed up because it was a day bed. It was a beautiful day bed. I always wanted a day bed and I like to get things out my system. So here I was buying this day bed. Oh, I have another thing too. I have a problem with metal beds. I found out iron or metal uh, interferes with my electromagnetic body. I've had two metal beds in my lifetime, and I can't tell you why, but I had a beautiful iron metal bed that made me not sleep at night. True story. And it was beautiful. I made my dad pay for it because, he was like, "Oh, I want to come live with you." And I was like, "Oh, it's going to cost you." So I need this day bed, and he got it for me. And sucks to be me because I found out years later I cannot have metal beds. Um, in any case, that was when I was younger. The bed that my dad brought me. Cut two, I'm now in California, and I'm in a studio, and I always wanted a day bed. Has anybody like? It was my dream. It was my dream, like day bed. Where did I find this day bed? I literally found this day bed at the Goodwill, like literally. Um, but of course, I didn't take the mattress because I'm not that girl. Got a brand new mattress for my day bed. Um, but I placed it near the window. It was a nightmare. And the combination of the metal and looking out the window caused me to have an out of body experience. And now that I'm talking about it, also caused me to have pneumonia. So it is what it is. I just moved the damn day bed over to the other side and I was fine. Angela says, normally our souls leave our bodies when we are unalive. With astral projection, our souls leave our bodies while we are still alive. Maybe that's the association. With death, you mean? Maybe. Maybe. But I think that like not coming back in is the scary part. There's been a lot of studies outside of this book. I'll look for a video or something that we can share. Yes, with death. Oh, got you. Where there's been studies done, doctors do it on purpose, where if somebody dies in the hospital, but they come back, they study them, they ask them questions. It's a whole big project, right? My dad died on the operating table, came back, and of course, a team came in to discuss what he saw. Before the team came in, I had already spoke to him, and we're very, very close. And I was like, "How you doing, Dad?" And he's like, "I'm fine." I was like, "Well, what happened? He's like, they tell me I died. And I was like, yeah, okay. And nothing else? Did you see anything? He goes, nope, I didn't see anything. I just found out later that I died and came back. And then his team came to talk to him. All I can tell you is by the time the team was done with him, and it took a few days, so they kept coming back, my dad sat down with Jesus, talked to God, yada, yada, boom, boom, boom. By the time the team was finished with him, he had created a whole story. Now, whether or not that story was true or not, I don't think so. I was there with one of the conversations and I'm watching him exaggerate, basically lie to these people. And I'm looking at him and he's loving the attention and the story. And oh my God, I'm like God, this dude is lying. But I never corrected him. And you know how I know he was lying? He never talked about it once he left the hospital. Because you would keep that memory, like, right? It would be seared in your soul. And you would be like, Trace, when I died, a couple of things happened. And I'd be like, oh, Dad, tell me what happened. He never talked about it. That's how I knew he was lying. All right, whatever. Oh, that's very common, Bree. Bree says, oh my God, the out of body experience I had at 35 was on the operating table. Now, that is very, very common. An operation will do that. And they will, I don't know, did anybody come talk to you? Because they will be like, did you see something? And people have been known to be in the operating room and be above the body and see the doctor and see the activity and see the excitement when someone dies. Oh my God, when someone dies or colds or whatever, the activity in the hospital shoots up 1,000%. The one thing I can say about hospitals is that they are not into death. They are into survival. And they will kick into gear, get that crash cart. They start to, I gotta do this, do that. Blah, 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 blah. It's actually very fascinating when death shows up because it's really a fight against the soul to not leave. It's actually a beautiful thing if you could witness that. Um, and so it's very common that it happens in the hospitals. Very, very common. So not surprised, Bree. Angela says, it's my belief that when our souls leave our bodies during astral projection, just enough essence of our souls are left in our bodies to keep us alive until we return to our bodies. There could be some truth in that. There could be. Um, Remember, your organs are still there. Your heart still beats, right? The death is the separation from the body, not the body itself. But the soul has to get back in order for the body to recalibrate. So I totally believe that the body is still available to you to get back in. But I also find it interesting that if the soul doesn't get back in, the that's the lifeline. The lifeline is the soul. So if the soul doesn't get back in, the body has no lifeline. The heart needs the soul. The kidneys need the soul. The blood that pumps through you needs the soul. So isn't that interesting that there is this fine line? All right, guys, you made me happier. I felt very alone in the beginning of this dialogue, but the fact that you all have had similar experiences, that makes me very happy. All right, moving on. I was cooking dinner in the kitchen and began to hear this vibration in my head. Then I felt this pull on my chin. My chin was pulled downward, the light bulb on the wall. All of a sudden, I became hypnotized by the light bulb. I was pulled out of my body. I looked down and saw myself with big, bulgy eyes. Holding on to the dish rag, I was drawn further and further out of my body up to the ceiling. And then I was passing through space at incredible speed. Haywood Coleman, Los Angeles entertainer, speaks of an astral projection experience while he lived in Paris. I got closer and closer to the disc, and as I drew close, the more of a melting feeling I had. I thought, oh God, I'm not worthy enough to be this close to thee. And the vibration that pulled me out of my body began to vibrate in a way of saying, this is how I want you to be every moment of your life. Then I found myself released. I found myself back in a room up on the ceiling. I was slowly lowered back into my body. I was afraid because at first thought I was dead and I would never get back into my body. I thought, this is how I am dying. When I was released and back into my body, I dropped everything and started crying. I could see auras around everything. I could see atoms of the curtains, vibrant colors. My mind was glowing. That was the beginning. Wow. All right. All right. I need some coffee. I'm really disappointed that I don't have coffee. And all I could do is think about food right now. And I'm supposed to go to the farm today, but I don't know if I want to go to the farm. Um, I got so much work to do myself here. I'm trying to organize my thoughts. Hmm. All right. Moving on. Hold on. Does anybody know where this tropical storm is coming? I think Florida could be saved. Does anybody know? All right. Let's see. Next story. Delia Greer was uneasy, stopped by what her daughter Bakara Ani said a few minutes earlier. The 5-year-old child had softly intoned, Mommy, someone is so sick. As was her habit, the child repeated some of the phrase, so sick. It didn't make sense then, but within a week, Delia, who had no idea it was she who was ill, had to be hospitalized. Under intensive treatment, which required blood transfusions, Delilah used visualization concepts to accelerate healing. At one point of her self healing work, she became aware of her astral body coming out, unlocking. My higher self moved out from my head first and feet last. I began to walk on top of myself. As I walked on my forehead, nose, chest, all the way down. I bent over and lifted up my stomach, my insides, and then pulled them back. She then went back into her body with the realization that she was healed. Professionally trained in social work and clinical psychology, Delida combines these skills with her psychic gifts to give consultation through her social psychic consulting practice in Cleveland, Ohio. I began dancing on top of the world. I was traveling all over the world to Nigeria, Haiti, places I had visited. She actually met with a friend, Edna, who had died 5 months earlier. Edna is my grandmother's name. I went and visited her, but it was like being in a tunnel. I saw her. She was tall. She was in an armored dress, but it was like of mail, really heavy. I said, Edna, oh, Edna, I really like to talk to you. She came to the hospital. Now I'm with you and I feel so peaceful. I don't know if I want to go back. She told me I had to go back. She kept saying, stay back. And she moved away from me. In further contemplating experiences, Delida remarked it was the first time she didn't fear death. I was in a state of consciousness where I could feel. I could have a choice. During her astral travel, Delida confirmed her spiritual direction. My mission in this life, my lesson is to let go and let God. And that is exactly why I am healed. I let go and let God. That's beautiful. How many of us have a hard time of letting go and letting God? Many of us. Ciao. All right. Oh, oh, it's going to hit Tallahassee? Interesting. All right. Let me reposition my body here. Oh, I have to exercise. I miss exercising. I want to go back to exercising. Mm, I miss it. All right. All right. Let go and let God. Who's had trouble with letting go of something and letting God work through you? That's my mantra lately. Let go and let God. I'm not trying to control anyone, anything, any situation. Sometimes I just sit back and just go, all right, so I'm fine. Just gonna let go and let God. It's a hard thing to do, but it just makes it better when you don't try to force something. You all know that. That makes your life better. Ah, guys, there's so much I want to do. Does anybody feel like me where it's like I want to take Pilates, I want to exercise, I want to do candle magic, so many things. And Do you ever get overwhelmed and you wind up doing nothing? Oh, like my mind is like, I want to take over the world. And it's like, I'll just lay in my bed for 3 days and do nothing. I'll just dream about taking over the world. Anybody? Or is it just my dumb, crazy ass? Me, I think we all have trouble with this before. Just saying, let go and let God, right? Yeah. Yeah, we all do. We all get challenged. And I think it's a test, Bree. I think it's an emotional test between, us and God and the spiritual world. And, God saying, do you trust me? Do you trust me? And we act like we trust God. We really do. We act like we're like, oh, God, I trust you until things don't go our way. And they were like, what the fuck, God? I had to take things in my own hands now. And God is like, girl, you better relax. And then you come to that realization where it's like, I'm not fighting. I'm not fighting. Like, since COVID, like, life is too short. I mean, we're still watching young people not make it. Look at this one. Erica Ash is her name. Why? We still don't know what happened to her. Does anybody know what happened to Erica Ash? Let me look it up. Oh, what happened to Erica Ash? I think that's her name. Oh, she died of cancer. They're saying from a long cancer battle. Wow. All right. Wow. So, yeah. Oh, there you go. All right. I'm sorry, Erica. Sorry you had this experience. All right. I'm going to get one more story out. I might be able to finish this. Good Lord, man. Oh, wait. I might finish this. Good Lord, man. You're two-thirds in the spirit world. A medium once told me that. I think my mother would have agreed with her. When I was young, I would go into trances, completely forgetting what I was supposed to be doing. I didn't discover what it was until I was in my 40s. I found myself outside my body. I've seen this body. I've always been a dreamer. I didn't realize what was happening. I thought my mind was just outside. When I was young, I also investigated all religions, including the Far Eastern ones, which impressed me a great deal. Richard Barth relates he has viewed with certainty his body outside of it. We got up too quickly once, feeling weak. He looked back, seeing he had left his body behind. He lay down again, rising slowly this time with his body. An artist of the Harlem Renaissance period, Barth had received national and international recognition for his work. He's had he has done hundreds of sculptures since 1920 sculptures since 1927 when he first began his work. He has been called Creole Michelangelo and compared with Rodin. In East Pasadena, where he lives, a street has been named in his honor. Oh, isn't that interesting? Barth came back from out of one of his out of body travels with the insight needed to complete a sculpture of Christ. This statue is 6 feet tall, he indicates. It's looking right through you. It makes some people uncomfortable. I thought it was the best thing I've ever done by far, but there was something disturbing about it. I couldn't figure out what it was. I checked it. I couldn't find anything wrong, so I decided I've done the best I could. I can't find out what is wrong with it. So then I think I shall have to ask for help. Oh, hold on. Darn it. Custom. Hi, Renee. Doing my show. We'll call you today. All right. Um, I went to my bedroom, sat on my bed, took my shoes off, belt and collar. I didn't want anything to physically attract me. I meditated on my problem and asked for help. Soon, every bodily sensation disappeared. My only consciousness was here, he described, pointing his third eye area. The rest of my body just disappeared as far as feeling went. Suddenly, I found myself floating out of my forehead. I went up through the ceiling, through the clouds. I was going up again, now swinging to the right, now swinging to the left. I found myself way out in the outer stratosphere. It was better than flying because I didn't have to wave my arms. I was just relaxed and floating up like a toy balloon being let out with hundreds of miles of thread. I didn't know how long I was there. Suddenly I landed a thump. I found myself sitting on my bed on 8th Avenue. I came out of the room. I'd forgotten why I went in. I heated my dinner, sat down, ate it, but forgot to taste it. I was trying to hang on to the feeling of floating up there in outer space. Finished dinner, went into the kitchen to wash the plates. I was looking at the wall when suddenly I saw my Christ figure. The right hand was out like this, Barth gestures. The right arm was wrong. That wasn't the Christ I was doing. I wasn't doing the religious symbol. I was doing the man as I had seen him, not the religious symbol. That was tacked on hundreds of years later. That was what was annoying me. I couldn't see it. So I lowered his hand, and now he is looking right at you. And I called it, Come Unto Me. What's his name? Richard Bott? Let's look him up, guys. Richard Bott, Come Unto Me. Come unto me. All right. Images. We also did John F. Kennedy. I love sculptures. Do you guys like that kind of art? I don't see it though. Come unto me. Is this Christ? Hmm. Here it is. No. He did John Kennedy. Good. All right. I'll study it better. All right. While the statue was still in his studio, Barth had another experience with his work. An elderly woman came to commission him to do a plaque her church. She asked if she could see what was under the sheet. I removed the blanket and she looked directly into his eyes, and he was looking at her. The woman's attention never left his eyes, never looked at his face, hands, or feet, or anything. She never saw the rest of him. She was locked into his eyes as if she had been hypnotized. I saw on a model stand smoking, watching her face. Gradually, her eyes filled with water. Tears ran down. I don't think she was conscious of them. She didn't wipe them away. Finally, she took a breath. Deep breath. She wiped her face. She said, "Mr. Barth, I want to thank you for what you have done for me this morning." I said, "What is that?" She said, "Yesterday, when I made the appointment, I was feeling fine. I went to bed last night feeling fine. This morning, when I woke up, I was so depressed. I could hardly get out of bed. I thought of calling you and canceling the engagement, but I thought it wouldn't be fair to you. I forced myself to come. When I got here, I had to pull myself up by the banister. I felt as if there was a heavy, heavy load upon my shoulders. Mr. Bart, the load has been lifted, and I feel light and happy. Thank you very much." Bart reflects she was cured by just looking into the eyes of a piece of clay. Her faith did it. I didn't. The body is the house you live in, Bart summarizes his astral plane experiences. All right, let me see something. I think this might be the original one. Seems to be a couple of versions of Christ consciousness. I wonder which one is the original one. Funny how there's not a good picture of this come to me statue. Interesting. I mean, I feel like he would be so blessed to have Jesus come to him and do something like that. Um, Bree says, I think we all have trouble with this before, just saying. Yeah. I like the come to me sculpture. Oh, thank you. Let me take a look at it. Hold on. Yeah, that's the one I found too. Yeah, yeah. I like it too. It's very beautiful. All right. Thank you for this, Angela. Thank you. All right. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. I actually want to save this. Keep it in my save category here. Take a look at it again. You know, Once my son was 16 years old and I was exercising, and sometimes in my mind's eye, visions would come. So I was exercising on the treadmill, no less. I closed my eyes, and there was Jesus in my mind's eye. And I remember thinking, oh, hey, hi, Jesus. And then right after that, I was like, okay, if Jesus showed up, what does that mean? Well, all I could tell you is that my life changed forever at that point. But I don't know how long after that vision came to me. And most recently, I had Mother Mary come to me, who I love equally. Um, she came to me recently. So I wonder why. I guess I'll figure it out later. In any case, moving on. Thank you for that, Angela, to come to me, sculpture on Pinterest. All right. Wait. Oh, okay. Let me see. Okay. We're almost done. We did good. We did very good today. And thank you for the admission that you all was feeling this section. Thank you. Because, I want to do right. I want to do right, and I don't want to be inside my ego. And just because I'm feeling uncomfortable with something doesn't mean you are. So I really appreciate anyone, Bree, Angela, that spoke up and was like, "No, this is good. Like, let's talk about this." All right, moving on. As it was as if from a position slightly above and behind my head, I were observing my body and its movements in a way that turned a spotlight on my body and made the most familiar things seem new and incredibly strange. In a publication, The Lives of Jean Toomer, A Hunger for Wholeness, Cynthia Earl Curlman and Richard Eldridge have presented Jean Toomer's perception of himself, rising above his body, viewing it from the outside as it continued apparently on its own to walk and communicate. An early disciple and teacher in the George Gurdjieff movement and applied physiological physio, physio, physical system, author Jean Toomer brought the teachings of the Russian philosophical system. Oh my God. Author Jean Toomer brought the teachings of the Russian philosopher and author to Harlem during the Renaissance period. Toomer basically followed a lifelong commitment to spiritual development for himself and to the sharing of knowledge with others, such as his experiences in being on the other planes of existence. His recognition of being separate from the body also conveyed in the autobiography work, Exile into Being. It was as though an enormous weight had lifted and the body was light and free. And I am sure the weight of latent fears and insecurity, the weight of active ego drivers and mental ambitions had lifted. I know that me and I were lifted from the body, and to whatever extent I had been imprisoned. In it, the body was relieved to be rid of its prisoner. It was as if, though a long life strain had been depleted, and the body was pliant. All right. Next story. I had such a strong sense to leave my body that I had to sit down. It was around 1971, and I was at the table with my son. He held onto my hands, otherwise, I might have swayed out there. He was holding onto my hands as I flew out fast. As an informed and comparatively relaxed explorer in spirit form since childhood, June Gatlin, which came up earlier, knows not to sleep on her back when she wishes to go out. At 6 to 14 years old, I had outstanding astral travels, but now I am in more control when I fly. The singer and spiritual healer says there is sometimes a sense of rushing as she leaves her body. On her journey, she had looked through the eyes of an eagle and is aware of having flown through time. I have flown back to Egypt and to the future. I have learned it. Time is all the same, she informs. She reflects that its purest form, the separation of the body, brings a feeling of well being, not similar to one's experience in the death process, of releasing from all your worldly attachments. While separate from the body, she witnesses the presence of negativity in the form of degenerate spirits who inhabit the bodies of persons who exist impulsively and leave their bodies unprotected. June has gained a sense of command over her astral travel. She prepares her body prior to moving out of it and maintains an attachment during her absence. She describes her state of being in her astral travels as a peaceful, wonderful existence. That's the point I was trying to make when I was telling you all I had my window by my bed and that there are good energies and bad energies out there. And she said she reflects that in its purest form of separation, um, from the body brings a feeling of well being, not similar to one's experience in the death process of releasing from all worldly attachments. While separate from the body, she witnesses the presence of negativity in the form of degenerate spirits who inhabit the bodies of persons who exist impulsively and leave their bodies unprotected. So, a lot of times when y'all are arguing with a toxic person, a, a degenerate spirit could have gotten in. You know, when you're dealing with the drunk. Last night, I couldn't figure out what to eat. And my neighbor, John, needed something from God knows where. So I said, John, if you wait, I'll take you. So we get in a car, and he was getting Domino's, but I really can't eat Domino's. And John's grandson even says it. You can't eat Domino's. I'm like, I know. Thank you for remembering that. Um. So, but I was hungry, and I kept complaining. I was like, I could cook if I want. I could make some spinach, but I really want something to go with it. And I'm just complaining out loud. When I say to John, I can get food from the chocolate bar. And at first I was going to get food from Rosie's. And then I changed it to the chocolate bar. And ultimately, I decided to go to the chocolate bar, and John was with me. And I said, John, I haven't been to the chocolate bar in 3 years. I've been here 3 years. I said, I've not been to the chocolate bar in 3 years. And the reason why I haven't been to the chocolate bar in 3 years is because that's a place where the men are just drunks. Like, they're drunk with the full nose and puffy eyes and like really bad. But I don't regret going, right? And so I get there, and the first man that crosses in front of me is a whole drunk. The look, that puffy face, and I like almost like a caricature. And I was like, oh, that's why I don't come here. right? But out of fairness to all the drunks, I think every restaurant has their level of people that are drunks and visit and lives there practically. Um, but in any case, I say that to say when you have substances, drugs, alcohol, sex addictions, that's an unprotected temple. That is the unprotected temple. And that's when a spirit can get in. And sometimes the spirit gets in. We know this now. We all should know this now. A spirit can get in through sex. And most times it could get in because we don't no longer take the time to get to know someone's soul. All right. And then when we can't get along with that spirit, right? Because the entity is doing itself, it's doing them. And then when we have to separate from that entity, we feel like don't leave me, but it's an entity that got in, not the soul of the man, because the soul of the man is not there. The soul of the woman is not there. I was watching a show last night. It's called Catfish Something. And when I tell you how badly in love this man was with this woman, it was a big scam. And my heart was breaking for him because I'm like, he's never met the woman. He's given this woman so much money. And I realized for the first time that, which I guess I knew, but I had to admit it, that like your soul can get attached to a thing without having a body experience. I'm always telling everybody, be careful with sex, be careful with sex. Like, but I do mean like be careful with sex because you have to like, it would behoove you to get to know the soul of someone. And by the way, how you get to know the soul of someone, let them talk. People tell on themselves. Let them talk. Listen. Don't try to convince someone to be anything but who they are presenting them to you. Don't argue with anyone. Just be like, oh, that's a very interesting way of thinking. I don't know if I agree, but that's interesting, right? Because if you let them talk, you will truly discover whether or not you like them. Let them talk. Let them talk themselves under the bus. Don't try to convince yourself to like someone when they are literally telling you who they are. The other thing I want to be able to say, I get this a lot, but just let me add this in here. Stop listening to sob stories. Stop. Oh, woe is me. I didn't have the best childhood. Oh, my most recent ex-wife, there's like three of them. Oh, she cheated on me. Oh my God, please. Don't be like, wow, wow. Unless a man is asking you, unless a woman is asking you, are you okay? How's your day today? I don't need to know your past. I need to know who you are today. Let them talk. Because if you ask a simple question like, how's your day been today? And he has to go into his mama drama, he got a spirit in him. You don't want that. You don't want that. You want to hear these stories after you all have connected on a mature, emotional, spiritual level. But that takes time. That is not overnight. All right. We're at the last story, I think. Yes, we are at the last story in this chapter, so let's do this. I experienced going out of my body as a beam of light. I was light shooting through the cosmos, then I became afraid because I wasn't sure it would come back to my body. San Francisco Bay Area resident Ariska Rasic is a midwife, healer, and teacher of spiritual dance. Ariska experiences her spirituality as evolving out of multicultural bases. One of these is Native American religious concepts and practices. Another is out of Africa's sacred traditions. A third from Wicca, a religion centered around female deities. Dreams are important in my life. I have a habit now. When I dream about people, I call them. I do want to know if something is up, she relates. I once had a dream that was a clear dream. I came out of the dream with a clear message I should try for midwifery school. I realized that all my connections were about things I did with my hands and my body. That's where my greatest skills in communications were. The dream told me that my fulfillment was around that. I didn't at first consider myself a healer. I remember going once to a congress and a woman came up to me. You're a healer. What are you doing with it? She inquired. I am a midwife, I replied. I haven't considered my midwifery as healing because I didn't consider birth sickness. Now I do think of myself as a healer, but I think of myself as a peacemaker and a bridge between the races at some level, starting to pull together peace. Part of who I am, part of being able to take up a world of cosmology, is that I grew up in Harlem. My second mother was a Japanese woman. It was her family that I lived with when I was 15 and 16. I am someone who had people who are not black as significant others in my life ever since I was a child. I think that she, I think that has kept me more open than other people. She blesses some of the babies of the drug addicted women giving birth in the clinic setting in which she works. She believes that if she doesn't say a blessing for some of the babies, no one would during the whole pregnancy, not even the mothers. From a viewpoint, every child is supposed to come in wanted. Many of the women Ariska sees do not consider birth as a spiritual event. The birth happens in the middle of such turmoil. The birth is happening when the woman is trying desperately to knit together the threads of her life, and it is real difficult. Sometimes Ariska gets someone who wants a spiritual birth. She remarks how much she loves doing births that way, infrequent as they are. She does not impose her own spiritual beliefs on pregnant women, but she teaches relaxation techniques. I try to encourage them to bring their spiritual beliefs to the birth of their child. I do believe we are light energy. When we die, we go back to being that pure energy, affirms Ariska. All right, guys, we have done our job. And astro travel. And the next one is rituals. Very interesting topic. By way of rituals, chapter 8. Oh my goodness. Mm. Stretch. I need to do something with my body. I need to exercise. I need some Pilates in my life. And I need to do better. Hi, Sis Pat. How are you? All right, everyone. I hope I helped. Call me for your own personal reading, 213-458-7408. And guess what? Subscribe. Subscribe. Birth to a spiritual process. The womb is absolutely a portal. Yes. Grand Rising, Tracy. Imagine being in the womb and thinking this is the best place you could ever be. And you don't want to be any place else. This place is amazing. And then you're forced to give birth through what? The portal. And then you discover, oh, there's a whole new world out there. I thought the womb was the best place, but there's something different. Can't always say better because not everybody's born to great moms, but there's something different out there. And I get to spend 100 years exploring better, more than 9 months. Make the best of your living. Make the best of your birth, guys. And if you haven't been making the best of your birth, start today. Start today. Start today with happiness, peace. Consider yourself more than others. It's okay not to be a people pleaser. It's okay to please you. It's okay. Do that. You're going to be so happy. It's okay to have sex with yourself. Seriously. It's okay to be happy. That people pleasing, there's no value in it unless it's reciprocated. So if something about you've been neglecting, do you. Figure you out. If you wanted to travel, do it. Travel by yourself. Just don't stop. Just don't give up. Just start over again today. Because I'm not dying unless I'm fully engaged and happy. It's not happening. So have no regrets and start again. Finnegan, begin again. You're welcome, Samara. All right, guys. Thank you. Subscribe to my channel. Let's get me to 100,000. I love you guys. Take it easy. Bye.
Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown Live. Go to Tracy Brown.